We'll just get
Was it a long way for you to get here?
South side of town.
South side?
Yeah.
Okay.
To get sober. Lord help me get stronger. World is on my shoulders.
How you doing today? This is the 12 of 12 podcast, the podcast about real life, recovery, growth and development, redemption, because that's what it's about. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, tap the subscribe button and share for more. Also, if you need help with substance abuse disorders, severe mental illness, or if you know anyone who needs that help, please have them contact First Step Recovery. You see the numbers up top. Do not hesitate. Do not wait to get that help today or to help someone else. Remember, you can save a soul today and save a life today. We have a special guest today, Lauren.
My name is Lauren and I am an alcoholic.
Yep. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where you from?
So I claim Grayson County, Litchfield as my hometown. We moved there when I was like in 4th grade, so close enough, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty much grew up there, and then after graduating high school, I kind of moved around from city to city. I've lived in Lexington, Bowling Green, Owensboro, and moved here to Louisville back in September.
So all those are in the place of Kentucky. So you just bounced around the state of Kentucky?
Basically, with a couple of horrible months when I was in Evansville, Indiana, but it is what it is.
What was so horrible about Indiana?
The fact that it's Indiana, but no, like Evansville, I kind of got stuck there. It was a very dark time. So I guess I'll just kind of go into my lore a little bit.
Yep.
I was driving back. I went to go see somebody in St. Louis, Missouri, and I was driving back to Owensboro, and my vehicle broke down. It actually broke down in Fairfield, Illinois, but I had it towed to Evansville. And I ended up sleeping in the vehicle for a week. It was in a parking lot of a bowling alley, Diamond Lane's bowling alley on the corner of Fairs and Diamond Avenue in Evansville. And I was happened to be parked in like a flea market, and they wanted me to like move the vehicle. Well, there's some really seedy motels over there nearby. And this guy, I guess he had seen me a few times walking by the motel, and he came and like said, hey, they told me that you need to move your car, but I can help you. I'm here in town working, and I have a motel room. You can come stay with me platonically, and we'll see about getting your car fixed. And like desperation, I've been sleeping in this vehicle for a week now, and I'm just tired and I need something. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I go and I stay with him in the motel room. And so this is October 2023, and he starts doing very bad things to me. I'm getting sexually assaulted, and he's being very abusive. And in the meantime, he has told the staff at the motel that we're staying in that I was a homeless, mentally ill prostitute addicted to drugs that he'd like picked up off the streets. Well, none of that was true, except that I was sleeping in a vehicle because my vehicle had broken down. I wasn't on drugs. Like, I was stranded in my car, you know, and I thought this dude was going to help me. So anyway, few weeks, and this is all going on, and he starts like leaving these little like traps around the motel room to try to like electrocute me and stuff. And anyway, the week before Thanksgiving, he had like the ultimate trap, and his intention was to electrocute me and kill me. And I figured out what was going on, and I'm like recording it on my phone. And he ends up leaving the room. I'm in a panic, and I contacted my father, and he called the police, and the Evansville police show up. At this time, Mike had already left the room, and I'm sitting on the bed just kind of processing this, you know, because I'd been there for weeks. He'd been beating me, raping me, drugging me, and all this stuff. And the police showed up, and the police would not talk to me. They were talking to the motel staff. Well, the motel staff had been given the information that Mike had given them, that I am a crazy, drug-addicted prostitute, homeless, whatever. And so the police wouldn't even like take my story, watch the video that I made, and one of them was like making shocking noises with his taser, I guess to like make fun of the crazy prostitute, right? So long story short, they told me that I had to like vacate the premises. So I didn't have any money. I had everything from my apartment from where I'd been evicted a few weeks prior in my vehicle. So I grabbed everything I could, and I'm trying to figure out where to go. I thought my dad was coming to get me, but while I was packing my stuff, he texted me, and I didn't see it until a few hours later saying, can't make it, don't have the gas money. So I'm thinking fast. I'm sitting in the broken down vehicle with all my stuff. Like, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know what's going to happen. And then it like hit me, DV shelter. So I called a DV shelter in Evansville and told them the situation. And I grabbed everything that I could of value at the time because I knew that like the other stuff that was left in the vehicle, Mike was going to take it, and he did. Like I had a couple of 55-inch Roku TVs and stuff, and he ended up stealing it from when the vehicle was parked there after I left. But like when I grabbed my stuff and took it with me, I mean, like I packed it all up into this lift, and like everything that I had of value, I had like a couple of Kindles, I had 3 different laptops, my external hard drive, just a bunch of stuff that kind of I ended up keeping with me for months. But I ended up staying in DV shelters in Evansville up through over Thanksgiving, through the Christmas holiday, New Year's, and then I did eventually make it back to Owensboro, I think like the 2nd or 3rd week of January.
Wow, that's crazy. Man, that's a crazy story. Have you ever seen that guy again?
So I looked him up not too long ago, and he's back where he lives in Mississippi, and his most recent arrest is like a possession charge. But there's a lot more to that.
Exactly.
You know.
So tell me, I know something led up to that point, but when did you start using?
I started drinking. I had my first beer when I was like 4 years old, and I was 4 years old. We were on the Ohio River, me, my family, my brother, and my aunt. And my parents wanted me to have a beer and a cigarette. So I had a beer and a cigarette, and like they were doing it to like deter me from smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. Didn't happen.
Hold on, and this is at 4?
Yeah.
So hold on, whoa. So your parents wanted you at 4 years old to smoke a cigarette and drink some beer with them?
Yeah, because not with them. They thought it was going to gross me out, so later in life I wouldn't have the desire. It was a deterrent.
Okay, so that's hey, try this because you're going to hate it right now.
Yeah.
But you ended up liking it?
I mean, I just remember it happening, but like, didn't work, obviously, because I started drinking. So really my first like hardcore experience, like the key indicator that I'm an alcoholic, after I graduated high school, I went to Bellarmine, and it was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, and all the girls on my floor had been drinking. They'd made Jello shots and everything. Well, they all passed out and went to bed, and I'm in the dorm room, and I just see this shiny bottle of Captain Morgan Spice rum. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see how this goes. So I get the Captain Morgan, open it up, take a drink, and man, it hit. It tasted delicious. It made me feel good, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna keep on drinking this. And I drank that 5th in probably half an hour.
Wow.
So I downed a 5th of Captain Morgan Spice rum in half an hour.
Dang.
And like, I remember going downstairs after I killed that 5th and talking to the RA, just like playing it off because it really hadn't hit me yet.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm surprised you're still walking. Like,
Well, I went back up to my room about half an hour later and just like passed out.
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew it was coming. I'm like, man, if you was able to steal through that, jeez.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous. So that's when you figured out that, okay, you really did have a problem.
I thought I was just a normal 18-year-old drinking the way that 18-year-olds drink.
Yeah, just hanging out and partying, huh?
Yeah, and like...
But you just didn't know how to cut it off?
Well, you know, I moved back with my parents, and when I turned 21, you know, I was waiting tables, and I moved to Bowling Green, and that's when it was on. You know, there's a liquor store in every corner. I have access to my drug of choice anytime I want it. So I'm hitting up the liquor stores. I'm going to the bars. At the time, Three Brothers was a big bar in Bowling Green. But, like, I'm living the life. You know, I am getting wasted nightly. And when you work at a restaurant, you know, especially as a server, like, you're 99% of the time, your server is still drunk or hungover, you know, or probably on something else like some cocaine. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, that's just restaurant culture.
Yeah, it just goes along with it.
Yeah, because it's absolutely normalized. So that was my life. And, you know, I moved to Lexington for a while. And I had a little shotgun house, lived by myself. It was me and my dog Sasha, R.I.P. But that's when it really, really started getting hardcore because I would get off work and swing by the Rite Aid on the way home, and I'd pick up a handle. So I'd pick up like a handle beam, and I would go home and I would like turn on the TV, and it was on. Like I would be drinking from that handle. Sometimes I go through a handle in a day.
Dang.
Yeah, like.
And that's the bottle with the handle on it.
Yeah, that's the half gallon. Yeah, that's a half gallon.
Jeez, just for the people who might not know what you're talking about. The handle.
The jug.
That's a bad boy. That's a lot. That's a lot. And you were doing that daily.
I mean, there were days that I would go through that much. It usually took me about 2 days to 3 days to go through a handle, but like on days off and like on the weekends when I didn't work, that's when it was really on now. And I had a thing for like craft beer too, so I would go and pick up like the craft beer. Of course, I'm like eyeballing it, not just for the taste, but looking at that ABV, you know, because I want to know, okay, if I get this,
I want the strongest one.
Yeah, if I get this 9% beer, you know, how long is it going to take me? I'm spending this much, doing that little like math, you know, drunk math, as I like to call it. You know, so that's what I would do. And like Saturdays, Sundays, it's on. Because guess what? I have an excuse. Because guess what? Saturday morning, college football was on. So that means I get to get up, 9 o'clock, turn on ESPN. I can watch football all day long, get drunk, and nobody's going to judge me for it. Sunday, same thing. NFL Sunday morning, turn that on. I'm watching football from, you know, watching football from the first kickoff to the day to the last snap of night, you know? So like, my behavior was, you know, normalized in that regard because I could hide it behind that.
Yeah, so you could just hide it around and just basically hang in the partying lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
I know, because I used to like to drink a lot too, and it was like at the time, it's just you're definitely trying to find out me. I used to try to find out. Oh, I want the strongest drink, the highest proof. The thing that's gonna get me tore up, or they say don't mix dark, don't mix white. I want to drink all of that, cause I just want to get wasted. But then I always covered it up. Yeah, you know what, man? It's just a good time. You're gonna get a party, and that was the main thing. I didn't realize, you know, that I had a problem. But then when I'm walking around with, you know, with water bottles full of vodka. And then, you know, and they're like, and people pull up and be like, hey man, you want some, hey man, let me get some water, man. Oh, you want to hit, oh, go ahead, man. Boom. Oh, dang, man, every time. And I keep it in there, you know, just because it covers it up. Like, yo, you know what, man, it looks like water. People not going to know I'm walking around toasted all the time. I'm lit all the time, man, you know, and it was just like, to the point I was like, man, you know what? But how did it ever affect you physically? Because one of the main things that made me stop is it started affecting my stomach. I started getting bad acid reflux. It started like eating away at my stomach, and then I caught like ulcers and crap. I'm like, yo, you know what? That's a wrap. I know this is killing me. I don't even think I'll live much longer if I keep drinking this. And then I'm like, you know what? I just praise to the Lord. I'm like, okay. I started shifting my health because I'm like, okay, I'm 30-something. At the time, I'm like 31 years old or something like that. And I'm like, hold on, this is affecting me bad. I'm only 31. And I'm thinking like, you know what? I'm not gonna live too much longer if I keep drinking like this. You know, I'm throwing up all the time, even without drinking now. You know, I done gained a lot of weight, and I'm feeling bad all the time. I'm like, man, you know what? I can't keep doing this. Did it affect you physically? How did it affect you physically?
Well, I knew it was killing me, and I didn't care because I wanted to die. You know? And as far as it physically affecting me, when I was waiting tables and had to, you know, be dry for a little bit, sometimes I'd be shaking so badly I couldn't ring in food on the touch screen. So I would take hand sanitizer, scoop it in my hand, and kick it to the back of my throat to calm myself down from shaking. You know, and like I'm actually absolutely floored by the fact that I never had a seizure from withdrawals, but like when I would do like a tolerance break, and I'd taper. You know, so like I'd cut in half, like, and it took me a while to like actually taper down. It would be like a 3-week taper because of how much I drank. Yeah. You know, so I would just cut it down half and half and half, or I would like take some Ativan or whatever, do the benzo taper as well. You know, so but yeah, puking, waking up puking up blood. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like I consider myself extremely lucky that I don't have any permanent damage to my body whatsoever from drinking. Yeah,
that's how I felt, man. I think because it was just like, for me, I wasn't drinking like for many years, but just for the years I was drinking, I was drinking a lot, and I was like, you know what? I just know there's people who probably it affects everybody different. Some people, they could drink not that much, and then they get just sideswiping. They go down real fast, and next thing you know, they get liver failure. You know, and it's just like, and you got people who could go a long time. So I just thank God daily that that I didn't have any permanent damage that to my body that continued. You know what I'm saying? Because it was definitely a scary thing.
Absolutely.
What do you think was you said you wanted to die. What do you think was the reason why you wanted to die?
Just the way that my life was, I was restless, irritable, and discontent. I was extremely depressed. I lived with my parents for a lot of my 30s. I moved back home after I moved from Lexington, and I lived with my mom and my dad and my brother. And, you know, I always had a job and stuff, but like, it was always make the money that I need to make and then come home and get obliterated, you know, because that was the only way that I could really tolerate my life. And some point in, I guess, my late 20s, I got introduced to like a chat room, and it was like a video chat. Like, people didn't talk, but we were all on video drinking together. And it actually started as a Reddit group. So this is probably like 14 years ago, called Crippling Alcoholism. So I started going to this chat room and hanging out with my internet friends, you know, who were getting drunk the same way I was getting drunk. So that's what I would do. I would get off work, I'd come home, I'd log on to chat and just get obliterated with these people online. And that's the thing, is like, I was drinking with others, but I was drinking alone because I didn't really have luck going to bars. I didn't get to drink the way that I wanted to at bars because I wanted to get obliterated. If I get obliterated at a bar, I'm going to get into a fight. If I get obliterated at a bar, I'm going to get kicked out. If I get obliterated in a bar, I'm going to get a DUI driving home. You know, so like my safe space, drink on the internet with my friends, I can get as drunk as I want to. I'll pass out like this all the time, bro.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like I would just, it was my safe space, but it wasn't really a safe space because I was getting wasted, you know, and eventually.
It was a space basically you could go that you felt like you won't get in any trouble at.
Right.
You can just be yourself, and you can, you know what, pass out when I want, don't got to worry about driving. And one thing, don't got to worry about spending so much money.
Yeah.
Boy, you go to them bars, boy, they gonna tax you. You go over there, you get drunk, you know, I'm only gonna have 1 or 2 drinks. I'm not gonna go that bad. Next thing you know, you get a $300 bill. Like, Jesus. You wake up the next morning like, why? What did I do?
Yeah.
Where did all this money go? Like it was definitely wasn't supposed to be that. I was just gonna eat, have a little drink, then next thing you know, 15 drinks later, you got a whole check.
Yep.
Then you're like, oh, I'm screwed. You know,
Yep.
That's the worst thing about it, man. You get drunk, you wake up the next day like, why? What happened? And then why? The regret.
Yeah.
That's the big thing about it, man.
Waking up in an unfamiliar apartment on the couch, looking around like, where am I?
Yeah.
Is my car parked out front? Is my car okay? Oh man, now I gotta like drive home. Or if like I had to be at work, like, oh man, now I gotta like go to work and pretend like everything's okay. Like, all right, let me have a beer for the road.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
have a beer for the road and just get on with my day.
Yeah, man, my boy used to tell me because he used to drink. We used to go. We out in the clubs. We in Orlando. We hanging out. Next morning, and I'm always like, yo, he wakes up. He's cracking the beer. I'm cracking the beer, and then I'm like, yo, what's the point? You know, but before the beer is cracked, I see him crack it, and it's the first time I seen. I'm like, hey, and I didn't know about it, but I'm like, man, I'm waking up with a hangover, man. You know, and he was like, man, drink a beer. Yep. And then I'm like, man, what the heck that do, man? My stomach's killing me, man. My head's throbbing, man. Just threw up. He said, listen, man, drink a beer and it'll even it all out. And then I'm like, you know, I'm just sitting there like I'm on the floor, feel like I'm about to die, and then drink a beer, and then it's a wrap. And then go back at it. Cause it's like once you drink that beer, you're not even feeling nauseous anymore. You're not even feeling sick. I'm like, yo, this is weird, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what, man? I got an issue, man. This is, you know, but we're doing it like, okay, nah, we only hanging out 3-4 days out the week. That's a week. You know what I'm saying? And then that's not counting the days I might want to drink by myself. You know, I'm just with you, you know, and then I'm like, yo, you know what, man? Nah, this is bad business right here. You know, we can't be doing this, you know, like you said, and then And then you trying to find a spot, you know what? I'd rather just drink at my house, man. Throw a movie on, just sit there, hang out on the porch, have my boys come over,
Watch
we
football.
drink and go over their house. We drink and watch the sports, talking trash. You know, a couple of my army buddies, they drinking all the time because they're going through their own PTSD. And I realized, you know what, man, this is people literally just trying to cover up the depression, the anxiety they're going through. It's a mental thing. It's not only a mental, it's a spiritual thing. Because I believe it's all connected, the spiritual, the mental.
Absolutely.
And it's just that depression, anxiety, the trauma. And then if you're not dealing with that, you're just going to find it out, you know what I'm saying, that some way on the outward instead of dealing with it on the inward where the problem really at. You're not dealing with the root, you're just masking it.
And, you know, you bring up masking, and the further along in my recovery I get, and the more that I really get to truly know myself, I realize that I had really bad social anxiety, but on top of that, I'm autistic. So a big reason why I drank the way that I did was exhaustion from masking, because a big part of being on the spectrum and when you're surrounded by people who are not is mimicking the behaviors of allistic. Allistic is people who are not on the spectrum. So mimicking the behaviors of people who are allistic and basically just pretending like you're not autistic. And so drinking was something that I could do as that social lubricant. It made me feel comfortable around people because I was trying to hide being awkward. I'm trying to hide parts about myself, you know, that now looking back is now that, you know, I've been sober for a little bit and I've worked, you know, my steps and I've done what I'm supposed to be doing. It's like, oh, now like that the masking has stopped. It's like, I don't care if I'm fidgeting around or if people are like talking about like my tone, you know, or whatever. Like, I don't mask anymore. I am who I am, you know, and I'm okay with that because it's exhausting trying to just try to fit in. I'm never going to fit in. I'm 40 years old. I've never fit in a day in my life. I'm not going to start now.
Yeah, facts. You know what? And that's true. Listen, just, be you. Listen, I had to get to a point because I always felt like the outcast. Nobody understand me. People don't like me, whatever. And I just be like, just in the world feeling like I'm by myself. And I'm like, man, you know what, man? I don't even care. You got to get to the point that some of y'all might have went through that. Even especially if you went through like bullying and stuff as a young age. And you just trying, a lot of you started going to alcohol, started going through drugs and stuff. Just to try to fit in. You know, when you do that, man, you start making bad decisions. And I realized, you know what? That's wrong, because if a person really cares for you, they'll accept you for who you are. If a person loves you, they're your friend, they're going to accept you for who you are. That means your faults and all, you know. And if they care for you, they want the best for you. They're not going to down you. They're not going to treat you bad. And so many times people just, you know, they end up being around the people who accept them. And the people who accept them, they're going through their own things. So they might be dealing with their own traumas, but you know what I'm saying, they're drinking, they're doing what they're doing. And that's the crowd that you're going to lean towards. Because, what is it? Basically like a trauma bond. They might not even tell you that they went through trauma, but their actions are showing it because they're hooked on it. They're doing drugs. They can't stop. And they don't even know what they got to dealing with. They're just dealing with it the best way they can. And you know, at the end of the day, even if it's knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, hurt people do hurt people. Absolutely.
And something that I realized is just like, psychology is kind of one of my it is one of my special interests, you know, but like something that I really has helped me get through a lot is realizing how much projection actually exists in the world and how much people really truly do project. And like when you stop people pleasing and you're authentic and genuine, it becomes a natural repellent for toxic people. Like the toxic people just start to fall off. And like at first, you know, because the inner people pleaser is like, I'm losing all these people. Oh my God, like what am I gonna do? But then like once you finally start to come to, and it's like, good, go, bye. I don't need you. Yeah. Like I'm me and I know who I am, and I don't need these people who want to test my boundaries, tell me that I'm something I'm not. And I feel like that's been the most powerful thing for me. since I've been in recovery is really just not letting people challenge me about myself, because I know who I was in active alcoholism and I know who I am now. And I just needed to heal the little girl inside of me and the angry teenager, the scared little girl, the angry teenager, the drunk 20s, 30s, and once I came through, it's like, I realized what the issue was, what the core issue was, and I've done a lot of prayer and healing to get where I am. And so, like, I'm just really grateful for the fact that, like, that toxicity, I can see when people are projecting onto me and not take it personally. One of the most powerful things that I've learned to say to people is, I can see that you're dedicated to misunderstanding me, so I'm not going to continue this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's just how it is.
Yeah. But that's a great thing. And that's a great thing about life, because a lot of people do like to project off on the other people the crap they be going through. Even when a person is verbally abusive, they're verbally abusive literally because they might have been verbally abused, and then a lot of those things they say, they're dishing them out on you. A lot of failures that people have, even if it comes to business, even if it comes to like you said, recovery, getting better. Because I know when I stopped, everybody stopped wanting to be around me. Oh, I don't want to drink no more. Well, people don't really want to be around you if you want to drink, if that's what they're doing. So then it's, hey, you think you're better? Then, hey, you know what, man, you don't really mess with me like that anyways. So all that comes back around because people literally will project what they have going on onto you. They want somebody to drown in the misery they're drowning in. Listen, I want to be healthier. I want to be better. I want to be spiritually, physically, mentally healthy. I want to. And it's not healthy being around toxic people. Like you said, toxic people will, once you become one with God, and then you realize that you are important, you're special and made in His image, you're not going to just put up with anything. That toxicity will not be able to be around you. Those toxic people are going to fall off. It's like the Lord said we have to be lights in this dark world for Him. So once we start shining and we start talking more about God, the people who don't care more about God, they're not going to want to be around you.
Right.
The people who don't believe in the Lord Christ, they're not going to want to be around you, because even though you might not pushing on them, those demons inside are going to hate that. You know what, man? I'm trying to get right with the Lord and change my life. What do you mean? You got to take God on it. You got to, and then they start hating you, not even realizing, like, yo, listen, I'm not your enemy.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you something I got going on, and then you're taking it like I'm talking to you.
Yep. Yeah. I had to realize that I was carrying the burdens of my mother and my father and the family before me. And I had to let go of that burden, and I had to let go of what I thought were familial obligations, because they're not. And I'm not responsible for anyone's healing but myself. And the things that I've been through in my past helped to make me who I am today and got me to where I am today. And so, like, I went through a lot of trauma, even recent trauma, because there's a lot more to that story about what happened after Evansville. But, like, that was only 2 years ago. That was November 2023. But that led up to my sobriety date, me getting sober. And the funny thing is, I unintentionally got my sobriety date. I did not plan on getting sober. So after I got back to Owensboro, I was living in motels for a little while, and then I went to another DV shelter there. But I got my tax refund back, so I got a big chunk of change, and I used it to rent a car. So I rented a car, and I DoorDashed my way to Virginia and went to go see one of my besties, and then came back to Kentucky. But I was paying for the motel rooms with the DoorDash money, right? And that's how I kept myself afloat. I didn't have permanent housing, but I always had a DV shelter to stay in or a motel room. I was never out on the street, never slept outside. I slept in the car a few times, but I was homeless, but I didn't experience that aspect of homelessness of being
a lot of people experience.
Right. So I get, even in my homelessness, I was kind of privileged, I guess you could say. And I'll be real with you, I don't think I would have survived on the streets. I probably would have gotten actually killed. There's a lot of stuff and with me being autistic too, Like, I really feel like I would have easily gotten taken advantage of. Worse things probably would have happened to me, you know. But yeah, after I had to return the rental car, I'd paid for a few days in the motel room. And you know what? I've been busting my butt trying to save up for, you know, to get a new apartment, to get a new house. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm out of money. What am I going to do? Because the past, you know, the few months prior to that, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't doing anything. I was just in survival mode. But because of that, because of the months leading up to my sobriety, in my head, it's telling me that I'm not actually an alcoholic because I went through the darkest, worst time in my life without drinking, you know? So I'm not actually an alcoholic, even though the 20 years, you know, I daily drinking a crap ton every day, right? So on April 27th, I was about to lose the room, and I'm like, you know what? I deserve a treat. And there's a liquor store right next to the Motel 6 in Owensboro. So I walked to the liquor store, and I picked me up a fifth of Burnett's vodka. And April 27th was a Saturday, and the NFL draft was on. So I'm like, all right, bet. I'm going to watch the NFL draft, and I'm going to get drunk. Well, I go back to the motel room, and I drink that fifth in 10 minutes. So, you know what that tells me is I don't have a healthy relationship with alcohol, because a normal person does not down a fifth of vodka in 10 minutes. No. And so I got wasted. By the way, Philadelphia Eagles, 40th overall pick of the draft, Cooper DeJean. Don't know if you know who he is, but you know, there was that lovely pick 6 in the Super Bowl, right? But yeah, so like the day after that, and the week after that day, I was hungover for a week. Damn. And I'm like, man, I'm over this drinking thing, you know, but in my head, because of the fact that I hadn't been drinking in the past few months, I'm not actually an alcoholic. So then I end up literally like in downtown Owensboro, nowhere to go, nowhere to stay. And I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to get food? How am I going to get shelter? Yeah. How am I going to stay safe? And I'm just in a panic. And then like a light comes on over my head. Like, I can pretend to be an alcoholic and rehab will come get me. So I call up ARC and I do the intake over the phone, and they accept me because there was like bourbon and barrels or whatever is going on in Owensboro was going on downtown. And I'm like, dude, if I go there, I'm gonna drink. And I was going to. Like, I was going to. But they came and got me, picked me up, and I ended up going to ARC and going to rehab. And that's when, like, I was going to meetings and stuff. But even still, like, I was telling the girls there, like, I'm not actually an alcoholic. Like, I'm just here for a place to stay, you know. And I dipped out of there after 30 days and went to an Oxford house for a while. I stayed sober. But the funny thing is, that little trip to St. Louis that I took back in 2023, before I left St. Louis, I was trying to get money to make my way back to Owensboro. I gave a homeless guy a ride to the casino, and they called security on us, and they were just trying to arrest the guy, but they searched me and I had some Klonopin in my pocket. So I got arrested when I was in St. Louis. Dang. And it was like a book and release. I didn't know what that was. My only experience in jail has been weekends for DUIs, right? So it's a book and release. Back out in St. Louis, driving on my way back, and then I lacked permanent housing, so I didn't have an address. Kind of forgot about the arrest, right? So I've got this court date that I didn't know that I missed. So in July of 2023, I was in the hospital in Grayson County in Litchfield, and I wanted to like make things right with my dad or whatever, because I'm not really sure what went south there, what went sour there. But like when my dad gave me a ride back to Owensboro, we had like stopped to eat. He didn't talk to me like after like Mike tried to kill me because I thought he was going to come get me. He didn't talk to me. He like blocked me and just like cut me off, like, because the woman that lives with them like said that she saw something on the internet of me and I wasn't allowed to like come around the house or whatever. Yeah, like it is what it is on that situation. But like when my dad was giving me a ride back to Owensboro, we were like sitting in the Golden Corral parking lot in Henderson, and my dad looked at me and he's like, I need to get rid of you. I've got to keep my woman. And so like that was like the moment that really broke me. You know, this was in January 2024, but that was like, this is my father and he needs to get rid of me. Like, what? So, July, I am at the hospital, Twin Lakes in Grayson County, and I'm having like a panic attack. And they called my dad, and my dad said that I wasn't allowed to come over because like I was supposedly trespassing the last time I was there. But there wasn't a trespassing order, and like the last time I was there, he wasn't even there. I went there to go see my dog Betsy. Like that was the only reason why. But yeah, it's a whole big thing. But whatever, like, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, I threatened to kill myself, and then kind of went back on it. But they ended up calling the police. So the police run a warrant search on me, and pops up this warrant from St. Louis, Missouri. So I get taken to Grayson County Detention Center. And so this is like my first, like, this is like the jail experience, you know. This was July last year. So, right, I'm there. I have like the court case to agree to the extradition to Missouri. And eventually Missouri drives to Grayson County and comes and picks me up for this court case. So I get taken to St. Louis County, which is Clayton, Missouri. I had court and they were going to release me on a GPS bracelet, but because I, at that point, didn't have a permanent address and was not a Missouri resident, they couldn't release me because I didn't have an address to tie the GPS bracelet to.
Yeah.
So I had to wait until my next court date. So I'm locked up for 2.5 months, right? And this is like I don't know what prison's like, but it felt like prison. It's a 2-person cell. We're on 23-hour lockdown. And like, I do have a little bit of sense about me to know that like, if I went out there and like was talking to the women, like I'm gonna make somebody mad, I'm gonna get my butt beat. Like it's not gonna be a good thing.
Yeah.
So I stayed in my cell. I would go out to the library and grab books, and they gave us a tablet. So I started meditating. I'm meditating on the tablet. I'm finding the meditations. I start listening to sermons on the tablet. Between like 6 and 8 on Bot Radio Network, I was listening to sermons. In the library, there were 2 books that I grabbed. The Bible being one, the other being the Big Book. And I am in my cell, and I am praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying and praying. And I'm reading the Big Book. And that's when it really said, hey, I should really commit to the sobriety. All this trouble is because the reason why I'm here is because of Klonopin, because of my alcoholic behavior. And I decided to commit to sobriety. So the day the court came, it was like September 16th. I go to court and I told them that I wanted to represent myself. I didn't want to deal with a public defender, just let me represent myself. I've been praying and praying and praying. And so the state wanted a continuance on my case. I was ready because I'm representing myself, so I'm ready to go, right?
Yeah.
Well, the judge had to dismiss it because I was representing myself because I was ready. So, all right, bet, dismissed. That means I'm out, right?
Yeah.
So I get released in the middle of Clayton, Missouri, which is St. Louis. And I'm like, okay, well, where do we go from here, right? So I've got like my rolly suitcase that got extradited with me, and it's got my stuff in it, you know, my phone, my laptop, clothes, whatever. I meet this guy and I kind of tell him my situation, like, hey, so I need somewhere to go, like maybe a DV shelter or something. And he ends up helping me out. And we go to the church, his church, and we chill there for a little bit. And the following day, we get a hold of his pastor. And his pastor comes out and talks to me. And his pastor's like, well, hey, what would you like to do? And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know anything about St. Louis. I don't think I would survive here. So the pastor offered to buy me a bus ticket. So he bought me a Greyhound ticket to Louisville.
Amen.
And they took me to the Greyhound station. And I'm sitting at the Greyhound station. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to Louisville. What am I going to do in Louisville? Am I going to find a DV shelter? What am I going to do? Like, how am I going to make this work? And I'm thinking, you know what? I was reading that big book. I've committed to sobriety. Maybe I should call up a sober living house and see if I can, like, you know, find a job in the next couple weeks and just do this thing. And I called the first place that popped up on my Google search, and they took my insurance and they could come pick me up. So, and my insurance paid for it, so I didn't have to pay for the bed. So 2.5 days later, I ended up here in Louisville, and they came and picked me up, and I was in that program, Show Your House of Hope. Yeah. I was in that program, you know, and started going to meetings, got a sponsor, worked the steps, did the thing. And here I am. My sobriety day, I finalized my divorce with Jim Beam on April 28th, 2024.
Oh, nice. Oh, April 28th, that's my birthday.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, hey, that's great to hear. That's great to hear. You know, just that's a powerful story. You've been through a lot, but then one thing about it, you kept pushing forward though. It's hard. It's hard to get sober. Like I don't know the day last time I drunk. I don't know, but I mean, it's good to stop.
Yeah.
It's good to stop whenever you do. Whenever you stop doing drugs, it's good to stop. You know, but what are some of the plans you have for your future now?
So right now I'm in school and I would like to become a special education teacher. That's one of the end games, but the past few weeks, I have kind of been thinking about going to seminary school. It's really been on my mind. I really, if I don't do it, because I think I have until the 1st of September to apply or whatever, like if I don't decide to right now, then next year, I really think I might attend seminary school because I feel like God has saved my life, and without God, I wouldn't be standing in front of you right now. And there's nothing I want more than to be a witness to what God has done for me and to spread the message.
Praise God, praise God. That's a great thing to do, because I'm a minister also. So it's like, it's a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. The Lord save you, you're going to save other people. The Lord heals you, you know, eventually you're going to want to heal other people. It's just going to be that calling that God puts on your heart to go out there. You know what? I want to see other people do better also. I don't know what the shape, size, or form, what color they are. Don't care about the nationality. I just want you to see as a human being, get closer to Christ, and to stop using, and to do better in life overall, you know? So that's definitely a blessed thing. Is there anything you would like to tell the people before we wrap it up? Tell them what you want to tell them.
Just be true to yourself. Only you know who you are. Only you know what your intentions are. Nobody can tell you who you are. And if you're living your life for other people, eventually those other people are going to get the best of you. So live for yourself, learn to love yourself, and God will do the rest. Trust God, trust in His plan, and you will be taken care of and you will be set for the rest of your life. And don't put one in you.
Yep. Amen, amen. That's great to hear. So I'm glad you could come and tell your story. And like we said, she just said it herself. Love God, then learn to love yourself. Everything else will work itself out. Love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and have a blessed day.